So welcome to our Pioneer informational meeting. I cannot believe, I'm looking at the names, I cannot believe that you guys are in Pioneer. I've known so many of you since you were little Fishman, DeRoy campers, and now, or Schiffman, Applebaum campers, and now you're coming to Robinson Pioneer, which is such an amazing experience. I'm excited for you all to be part of this program and to learn a little bit more tonight, and I hope that we can prepare you for what the summer is in store. So for those of you I don't know, I am Carly Weinstock. I am the camp director. I am very honored to be the camp director. I grew up at Tamarack, and I will say Pioneer at Camp Moss was one of my favorite summers. I have such great memories of the swamp walk and my trip to Agri, and at the time we went on a whitewater rafting trip in Ohio, which you guys are doing something a little different, but really exciting. And there's such amazing memories, and that you guys are all going to have those adventures this summer. So I'm excited for you. I'm joined with my incredible team. I'm going to have them quickly introduce themselves, and then everyone's going to chat a little. We're all going to tell you a little about the program, but I'll start with Becca.
Hi, everyone. My name's Becca, and I am the associate director here, and I hire all the counselors that are going to hang out with you guys all summer long. I grew up going to camp. I was a camper in specialty or in Pioneer. Sorry. I also was the supervisor of Pioneer in 2015. So it's near and dear to me, and I'll tell you a little bit more as the meeting goes on, but I'll pass it over to Matt.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all your names on screen. Matt Russell. I'm the director of teen travel, so the Western Alaska trips, but I also do a lot of booking and overseeing the Camp Mast trips. I was a tripper or supervisor of Camp Mast for several summers. So I love the trips, love everyone getting out there, and then hopefully seeing you all in a few years on a Western and Alaska or an outpost. And I'll pass it to Rachel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Fine. I'm the director of our outpost camps. Next year, you'll have the opportunity to sign up for Camp Kennedy. And after that, hopefully, the opportunity to sign up for Agri Outpost Camp. You'll be super lucky this summer to get to see Agri on your trips, which we'll get into a little bit more later. I grew up at Tamarack. My last summer at Camp Moss was in 2005, when I was a Pioneer camper. After that, I went to the outpost camps and never quite returned. So can't wait to chat more to you about it.
Thanks, Rachel. There's some other leadership members that I do want to just mention who aren't on the call right now. But Lauren Vidak, who is our program coordinator, who is working really hard in planning all of our programs at Camp Moss. Jen Feinberg is coming back as our medical director. So if you have any medical clinic medication questions, we will direct those to Jen Feinberg. And we're really excited that Craig Charnas is returning as the head of senior side. And Sarah Weinfeld is returning as our social worker for senior side. So all the Pioneer campers will get very used to seeing them a lot, and they'll be around having fun and lots of good stuff with Pioneer. I'm going to turn to Becca now to tell you a little bit more about the village and maybe even a little about your supervisor. So.
Amazing. Well, like I said, I have a lot of experience in Pioneer. So I'll give you just a brief of what makes Pioneer special. So I'm going to show a little picture slideshow while I tell you about some of the things that you will be doing. So just give me a thumbs up if you could see my screen. Perfect. So welcome to Pioneer. We're in the back of camp. It's a little bit rugged. You might not have electricity in your cabin, but it's everything that you guys have been waiting for. When you're at camp, I think you're going on trips 11 of the 24 days. And so when you're at camp, different than in the past, you guys have choice for your activities. So your village supervisor is going to get 4 or 5 activities for first, second, and whatever period is opposite of general swim. And you guys will get the chance to sign up for the different programs that you want to go to all summer long. There's still choices that you'll have. So you might have canoeing or sewing or Pioneer skills, and you'll pick between the options that you're giving. But you sort of get a chance to make your summer your own and really do what you love at camp, maybe more than other things. With that, you have 2 trips, which Rachel will talk about in a little bit, so I won't touch on them too much. But you'll have one towards the beginning of the summer and one towards the end of the summer. That's one of the trips, which is your ziplining trip that Matt will cover. A couple fun things that Pioneer gets to do only is this is when they did the swamp walk. So you'll finally get the chance to do the swamp walk. You know, you'll bring a bathing suit, some shoes you don't mind getting dirty, probably things that you won't keep after the first day because you're going into the swamp. There's some fun theme days that you guys can look forward to as well. Without spoiling too much, I'll just say one that you're probably familiar with, which might be Pickle Day. So bring something green and something crazy and fun. Rachel reminded me today that I think Pickle Day was established when I was the Pioneer supervisor because I love pickles. So 8 years later, it's still a Pioneer tradition. But it's really amazing. It's going to be the best summer. It's different than every year that you've had at Camp Mass so far. And I'll pass it over to Rachel a little bit to tell you what is the crucial thing that makes Pioneer so different than every other village.
Yeah, so Pioneer gets to go up and visit Agri Outpost Camp. Agri is one of our amazing outpost camps located in Northern Ontario. So I'm going to take you through a little slideshow to show you. So we'll leave from the Ortonville area. Each session will go up to Agri for a couple of days, and you'll pack for your trip back in Pioneer. So we'll leave from Ortonville and we'll drive up through Michigan in a Tamarack bus through the Upper Peninsula, and then we'll cross into Canada in Sault Ste. Marie. And then we're about 3 hours north, right off the coast of Lake Superior at Agri Outpost Camp, right outside of a town called Wawa, Ontario. It's super, it's got a lot of charm up there, and it's really beautiful to be right off of Lake Superior. So campers will either be going on a canoe trip or a hiking trip. You might even get the chance to see the Northern Lights. We've seen them up at Agri a couple times, and I love this view on the right of a Tamarack bus driving. You can see Old Woman Bay in the distance, which is part of Lake Superior Provincial Park, and it's one of the prettiest views. Lake Superior is magical. Here is the front of Agri, the entrance. That's called an Inukshuk, which is a rock formation that you'll see kind of all over Canada. And it really is about guiding home. And so we like to say that this Inukshuk that was built back in 2010, or maybe a little bit earlier, guide you home to Agri. This is the view off the breezeway at sunset. It's really an incredible, we're on Lake Cabanong there. So some people that'll be going on the canoe trip will be canoeing from Agri through the lakes that are surrounding Agri. And if you're going on the hiking trip, you'll be a little bit farther back at Lake Superior Provincial Park. So that's a view of our lodge. You'll have a couple meals up at Agri. That's one of the cabins that you'll be staying in. That's the view from the lake back up to the Agri property. And this is what the hiking trip could look like for you, walking through the woods, but then also on rocks and beaches. Lots of fun times with friends. And like I said, it's so gorgeous. This is a little bit of what a canoe trip might look like. You'll learn what it's like to portage, which means carrying the canoe over your head. And that's another view off of the breezeway. So yeah, campers will have the opportunity to explore Agri through the trips, and make sure to bring your passport and turn in your border crossing form as well. I'm going to pass things over to Matt to talk about Hocking Hills.
Thanks, Rachel. Yeah, so the second trip, Pioneer is very lucky. You get to go out on 2 camping trips in the summer. Everyone else only does 1. So towards the end of the session, the second trip is a 3-day, 2-night trip down to Hocking Hills, which is about a 5-hour drive from camp, just a little bit southeast of Columbus, the Hocking Hills State Park there. Beautiful location, lots of really nice day hiking there. the activity you get to do there, which is really cool, and you saw the videos, the photos of, is you get to do a zip lining tour down there as well. So we do have some zip lines at camp, and you may have done that, which is just a zip line. But a zip line tour is you'll do multiple zip lines in, you're up in the trees for about 3 or 4 hours zipping through the woods there. So that's that trip there. As I said, it's a 3-day, 2-night, so kind of a quick trip, but you pack a lot into those few days there. And you'll all be experts on trips and setting up tents and everything because of your trip earlier and getting used to that there. So yeah, great trip to wrap up the session. So yeah, that's it for that trip, and I'm gonna pass it back to Rachel.
Yeah, so you do need a couple extra items for these trips.
Rachel, sorry to interrupt you for 2 seconds. I know that this part, now that we're moving into like the packing section, you may have some questions. I don't want you to forget the questions. So as Rachel's going through, if you do, you can put them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end. But just we're not going to forget any of your questions, and we don't want you to forget them. So just make sure to write them down, and we can get to them. Thanks. Sorry, Rachel.
No, that's all right. Thanks, Carly. So you're going to need a few extra items that you may not have had in your past years at Moss. We don't want this to be burdensome to anyone. There are, a few items. Feel free to reach out if you're having a hard time deciding what to purchase. We are here to answer any questions. If you mention Tamarack at Joe's Army Navy or at Moose Jaw, you will get a discount if that's where you're going to be purchasing some of this gear. But like I said, we don't want this to be burdensome. If you are having a hard time purchasing any items, we also have a great program called Gear Share. So currently we're in the process of collecting items that people have donated. So you'll be hearing from us in a little bit with lists of items that are available, and you can reach out. Mickey Rubin is an amazing amazing parent that oversees our Gear Share program. And so some of these items you may be able to get from us that have been donated by other campers in the past. So keep your eyes open while you gather all of these items. And I understand, we totally understand that you're still growing, campers are still growing, and that you don't want to be purchasing these items year after year, especially if you're going to return to outpost camps or travel trips. So we want to keep that in mind when we suggest items to purchase. So the first item that we would like each camper to have is a hiking boot. Waterproof is helpful. Over the ankle is also helpful to support your foot. Feel free to reach out about brand suggestions or anything like that. Certain places, I think a lot of times this time of year, they'll have last year's hiking boots on sale, stuff like that. We also ask you to bring a couple pairs of synthetic wool hiking socks, which is really helpful on both the canoeing and the hiking trip for keeping your foot warm. And they're also good if they get wet to still keep your feet warm. We ask that you bring rain gear, a raincoat that zips up the front, as well as rain pants. Waterproof is ideal rather than water resistant, because if you're hiking or canoeing and it starts raining, you want to have that full coverage. And a hood is also very helpful on your rain gear as well. We have sleeping pads up at camp. So if you want to bring your own, you're welcome to, but we have enough sleeping pads in Trip Center to send up with Pioneer each session. But if you have one that you want to bring, feel free. Sleeping bags, we're really looking for a mummy bag that goes around your head. You'll sleep in that. You can sleep in that back at camp as well. But that sleeping bag up at Agri. The last couple items. So for the days of hiking and canoeing, it's nice to have quick dry clothing. That could be like an athletic top or something like that. But if you just want to bring t-shirts, that's fine. There's the hiking pants that are quick dry that zip off. The main thing is you really don't want to be in jeans or sweatpants, because if either of those get wet, if it rains or anything, it's really hard for those to dry. So like we mentioned, we don't want you to have to purchase so many things, but these few items at a minimum are going to really help on these trips.
I do just want to really quickly share my screen. I know that sorry, was I muted? Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. This is our website. We did send out our family guide so that you could go, everything in our packing lists are on here. So our Camp Moss 24-day packing list is here. Some of those items that Rachel just spoke about, if you want like a little bit more of a description of it, there is underneath the Camp Kennedy or on the Western Alaska ones. You don't have to go, like she said, all these items are not things that you need for Pioneer, but like the sleeping bag, if you wanted to know, more about it, you can look at the sleeping bag. That is something that maybe you should make an investment on now because they're going to use it on Western and Alaska or Outpost when they go. So just like some more information, utilize the website. It is all there. And for you to go. I think we're going to turn to Becca to share a little more about staffing.
Great, I forgot one piece. During these trips, campers will have the opportunity to stop for a little snack or drink if behaving well at pop stops. So parents send a little bit of cash, enough for, a little snack at a gas station or something like that when they go on these trips. I think this is another thing that makes Pioneer so unique is not everyone at camp gets that opportunity, but it's after, a couple weeks of camp food, it's nice to have those Doritos that you've been craving.
Perfect. And the last thing that I want to talk about before we turn it to you guys to hear what questions you have is some of your staff. So all of the staff that are working in Pioneer are wilderness first aid, CPR and lifeguard certified. So we know that you're going out, you're going on these trips, and your staff are trained appropriately to care for you guys. Also, I did want to share who the supervisor for this summer is, for those of you that don't know. His name is Zhenya. He worked in Pioneer last summer. He is an amazing Israeli staff. He actually won Senior Side Counselor of the Year last summer. He's awesome. He is the tour guide on Hillel's 8th grade trip. I think they might be there right now. So he knows a lot of people in the community. And we're really excited that he'll be back for a second year, and he's excited to meet you all.
Amazing. So now we are going to open it up to questions. I did get a couple that I will respond to or pass it over. Rachel or Matt, is there any suggested brands for boots, sleeping bags, socks, etc., that you would suggest?
I think for boots, I know Merrill has some really good boots. I'm looking in the corner of my office because there's a really nice pair that were dropped off for gear share. Maybe one of you will get them. For socks, Smart Wool is really good, or the REI, Moose Jaw, Joe's Army Navy brand. Sleeping bag, I know that the North Face Cat's Meow is a really popular one. I still have my North Face sleeping bag from 2005 when I was in Pioneer. So if you're looking for longevity, I know that that's a really good brand. Matt, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I would say Merrell's probably the best cost-effective hiking boot. So they're good quality. They're not very expensive. You can find very expensive hiking boots. Merrell's is in that good, affordable range and a quite good quality. So that would be the one I would say.
Amazing. Thank you. I did get a question about rodents in cabins. We have an amazing maintenance team and housekeeping team that is working all year round to keep rodents out of our cabins and out of any of our facilities at camp, but we are in the woods. And that's just another reminder of why it's so important to not bring food or anything that you're not supposed to bring into the cabins. If, in my 16 years of working here professionally, if I've, had an experience with any kind of rodents in any cabin or any kind of facility, it's because, campers have brought something in that they shouldn't have. So it's really important. Don't send food. Don't send, anything that's not on the packing list. Don't send it because Pioneer, you are more in the woods even than the rest of Camp Moss is, but it can happen anywhere. So we want to be really careful and prevent that from happening. So, they're not rodents in our cabins right now, and we hope to keep it that way all summer long, but we would, we do have a maintenance team that would be on top of any of that. Next question, I'm going to turn to Rachel. Do we get to stay in cabins at Agri the entire trip or just a few days?
That's great. Thanks for asking. So you will be leaving from Ortonville, driving up to Agri, and then because it's such a long ride, that first night you will stay at Agri before you go on your trips the next day. So when you're during that first night at Agri, you will get to stay in the cabins that are there. And then for the couple nights on the trip, you'll be staying in the tents. And then after the trip, you'll come back to the Agri property, gather your items, and then head back down.
There's a question about campers having to share like spoons or like eating utensils. You do not have to send any of that. We will make sure that every camper has their own. That's important. And all the camping gear, we do send that. So again, you can stick to the list. We've got them for all that. Heard that they can climb on I think this is a question about rodents climbing on beds. We're just going to keep rodents from coming in the cabins because you guys aren't going to be so amazing and you're not going to bring anything that's going to bring rodents into the cabins. So we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. Another question about bringing gum. We do allow gum at Camp Moss. I would, if I were you, not want to bring it. Again, putting something in your cabin that potentially has like a scent that could have, eroded, or, you just don't, gum gets yucky too and sticky and everywhere. So I would, leave it. If you did bring it, I would give it to the supervisor or have a counselor hold on to it for you. Mosquito nets at Agri. Is it a necessity? Is that still?
It's helpful to have them. It depends on the time of the summer that you're coming up there. We have a few at Agri. I would say if you want to purchase one, definitely do, and bring bug spray up with you as well. But we do have some up there and it can get buggy.
Great question.
It's a nice luxury item.
Do the kids get to decide between hiking and canoeing? I don't know if Becca wants to answer that or.
Yes. So how it'll work is your supervisor will take your request. And also in the past, they've taken a friend request. So if I'll just use random names that I see on the screen, if Andy, you request hiking, but Marty, you request Andy and you request canoeing, there might be a world where you get a friend or the type of trip you want. So we'll ask you which is more important, because your friend might want to go on the opposite one as you, but you might want to be with that friend. So yes, and we want to make sure that you also have the people that you're comfortable with too.
Another great question. Can we bring deodorant or hairbrushes on our camping trips?
Yeah, so you can bring them up with you to Agri. It's going to depend on what your trip leaders decide when you're there. If there's probably room in your bags for them. We do try to stick to unscented items in the backcountry, just due to rodents and other animals that may be up there. So it might be that you bring your deodorant up to Agri, and then for the couple days when you're on your trip, you leave it back. Or if you do bring it, you just have to make sure that it gets put in the bag with the food that stays away from everything else and stays safe from every rodents. But definitely bring it with. You could probably bring your hairbrush in your bag as well. Definitely bring them up to Agri, and then as a trip, you'll kind of decide as a group how you're going to do that.
Okay, next question. What parts of Pioneer have electricity?
Great question. The bathrooms have electricity. The lodge has electricity. The supervisor cabin has electricity. And it depends on the year, but one of the staff cabins have electricity. The year I was the supervisor, it was the female cabin. The year after, it was the male cabin. It just depends. But if you aren't feeling well, or you need a counselor and it's late at night and you need lights to look at something, there are places in Pioneer that have lights. There's also like those stick lights that I know a lot of campers have brought in the past. They're like battery operated. You could stick them and they turn on and they're like a flashlight. Campers have done that, and then their cabins have lights. But there's real electricity in 4 spots throughout Pioneer.
Good question. Okay, so the next couple questions, 1, 2, 3, 4, are all regarding the same thing. So all you guys are really great. You're all thinking the same way. You have the same question. Is types of bags to send. So like one question, do they need to bring their own hiking packs? Or what type of bag when they leave camp, do they bring on the bus with them, or what do they pack in? I don't know if one of you guys wants to, or do you want me to take it?
I can do it. In terms of hiking packs, we have that for you guys. So whether you're leaving from Agri, or we bring them up from our trip center, we have hiking packs that you guys will have. You don't need to bring your own hiking pack at all.
If you do have one though, you can, but
Yeah.
we have them if you don't.
And in terms of bags to bring, great question. You want a backpack. You're going to keep things in your backpack when you go on these trips. So a closed zip backpack is probably ideal. Drawstring bags are kind of small. They don't really fit everything. A fanny pack is fine, but you don't want to just bring a fanny pack, because when you go on the day hikes, you'll put your raincoat and maybe some snacks and things in your backpack. So definitely bring a school backpack of some sort. I know in the past, or if you look at like the Kennedy list, they might say like mini sea lines, like waterproof bags. That again is a luxury thing. You don't need that for any reason. But I would make sure also to have a ditty bag. You'll put your toiletries probably with other campers in like a garbage bag before you pack. And to separate the toothpaste from spilling on your socks, it's great to have like a ditty bag of some sort.
So like a toiletry bag of
Yeah.
some sort. And really like the backpack, really like their school backpack from this past year, like nothing, don't go out and get any kind of camping or hiking backpack. Like we do have what they'll need to go on the hiking trips. And they do pack their clothes when they go on a trip, like Becca said, in a garbage bag. And then they might put it in a duffel and share with a couple people. So the backpack is really just for like day hikes, or to put on what they're going to have on the bus with them. So not, nothing crazy. Should we bring cameras on the camping trip? I would say absolutely. That's, you saw those pictures at Agri. Like Agri is one of the most beautiful places. Hocking Hills, also great hikes. So absolutely bring a camera. But, just to go back to that, we have no screens and no, nothing that connects to Wi-Fi. So you could bring a disposable camera. They could bring a digital camera, that goes on batteries, because there's going to, be some electricity, like being able to plug it in on a trip. A camping trip is not possible. So but absolutely you need to bring a camera to show your parents all the memories. For the camping trips, should we bring biodegradable body and hair wash?
So you're only out there for a couple days. We will have some camp suds or Dr. Bronner's sent out with each trip to help with doing dishes and stuff like that. If you want to bring it to, I would say bring hydrodegradable body wash if you're gonna want to wash in like the lake or the rivers that we're by. You can bring hydrodegradable, but we will have some on each trip.
And don't know if we just answered this, but the question, the last question I have is, are we carrying our hiking and our school backpacks at the same time? So no, the school backpacks are just for like the bus ride, or when you go to Hocking Hills, you're going to do a day hike. And so when you do a day hike, you'll bring your backpack, like your school backpack. Your hiking pack that camp's going to provide for you is for if you choose to do the hiking trip at Agri, that's going into the backcountry. You're going to pack in a hiking backpack and take it back there. So you would not be using the two at the same time. These are all great questions. Do we have any other questions? And this is like, we are here. We want you to know you are always welcome to reach out to us. We want to answer all your questions. We want you to be very comfortable with coming to Pioneer, and any information, it is a little different than what everyone is used to. So we want to make sure that we make sure that you have everything that you need to know. I know Rachel did touch on the passport and the border crossing form. If you have not gotten the border crossing form in yet, it is, a form that needs to be notarized. We do have someone who can notarize that here in our office, Rachel Pitt. And she just asked for you to give her a call before coming in to make sure that she's here, but she can notarize your forms. Will someone be collecting the passports on the first day of camp? Yes. So what we do is we collect, the staff collect them, we put them in the safe in our office. The staff will get them the day that they leave to go up to Agri, and then they'll keep them on them. And then when they come back, they'll put them back in the safe. And on the last day of camp, we're going to put them back in the campers' backpacks. Like if your camper had medication, we put, your medication in the camper's backpack. We'll put their passport in their backpack for them to ride the bus or the plane or however they're going to get home.
Another thing is money. If you're packing like a $20 bill, they shouldn't need anything beyond that. That's like the maximum. Make sure to put it in a Ziploc bag or like a little wallet of sorts. If you put it in an envelope and then they go and they buy something and they get coins and dollars, it's hard to keep it closed. And the counselors hold on to the money. They'll collect it with the passport on the first day, and we'll give it back at each pop stop so no one loses it or they don't have it. So make sure to keep it in a sealable bag.
A Ziploc bag is the best thing that you could do. So, we did just have a question about someone who who went to get their passport and wants to know when the border crossing form is due. It's due as soon as you can get it to us. So when you wait to the passport, then you can get it to us then. So just as soon as you are able. Another important thing that I hope that everyone has done, because it is due on Monday, is our medical forms. All of our medical forms are online. If you did them earlier, maybe you were entered into our raffle for a discount on next summer, but we do have a raffle coming up again on Friday for some camp swag. So make sure to get it in. But if you don't have the health provider form filled out yet because their doctor's appointment is in the upcoming months, that's fine. Just email Jen Feinberg and let her know when your appointment is so she knows that it's coming. And I did just get a question about how many kids are in each cabin. So the Pioneer cabins are different sizes. There could be 8 kids, there could be 10 kids, there could be 6 kids. We will not know who's in which cabins and the size of the cabins until we're in bunking and doing bunking. So once we see the bunk requests and we are putting the bunks together, we'll decide like, okay, this, we're going to have this bunk be a bunk of 10 males, or this one's going to be 6 females. So that will be decided as we get closer to camp. Great questions. Matt, any closing? We'll begin to close. I know we like to say sometimes, as people, if you are thinking of some other questions, we might have had some come up as it is, but I'll start with Matt. Any closing comments?
No, just really excited to see everyone at camp again and getting out on the trips, and also, the fun stuff at camp with the ropes and everything else that I'll see everyone at as well. So, yeah. Counting days, a couple months, and we'll all be back at camp. So excited.
Matt, tell everyone where you spent your morning this morning.
I was on top of the zip line today. We had some school groups up at camp, so I'm up at camp a lot. So in the beautiful, sunny, snowy weather, was a little bit cold on the zip line, but it was still an amazing day. But yeah, so that was lots of fun. So yeah, we're here and we're waiting to see everyone there again.
How jealous are we of him that he gets to hang out at camp all the time? So I'm going to go to the other questions, and then we'll have Rachel and Becca. Any closing comments from you? A question, Becca, I'm going to have you. Who are the counselors this year?
Yeah, so we have one more boy who's still in the process of interviewing, but the counselors so far, like I said, Jenya is the supervisor. You have another male counselor. His name is Daron. Carly and I met him in Israel. He is amazing. He has a lot of camp experience. And then the 3 females are Brooke Bass, Shayna Foreman, and Shayna Lazar.
Next question. Who do we email our late medical forms? So it's Jen Feinberg, and it's jfeinberg@tamarakcamps.com. And you can find that on the website, or just email me, weinstock@tamarakcamps.com. We'll make sure to get that to her too. So, on the way to Agri, will there be a stop on Mackinac Island? There is not a stop at Mackinac Island on the way to Agri. That is something special that we do in specialty, which will be next year if you guys go to specialty. So that's something to look forward to in the future. Do they get to interact with their Ruach friends when they are at camp? Becca, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so you will see Ruach at General Swim every day. You'll also have lunch and dinner with your friends that are in Ruach. And, there's programs that you'll sometimes do with them. So you may do like a kickball tournament or a Pioneer versus Ruach Every year is different. But there is usually, you know, 1 or 2 village programs that you guys do together. But you'll see them every single day at lunch and dinner and general swim.
And another question, what are the dates that the kids are going to Agri? So we will send out dates to you guys as we get closer to camp. We also, you know, you'll get an email when the campers leave camp. So you know when they left camp, and you will also get an email when they return to camp for both of their trips. So we will make sure that you guys have all that information when the campers are going out. I'm going to turn to Rachel. Any closing comments?
Yeah, so I will actually be up at Agri both sessions when you come up for your trips. So I'll be super excited to get to share Agri with you at that time and have a great time until then.
Thanks, Rachel. Becca, any closing statements?
You guys are about to be in the best village, and I'm really excited for all of you. And I'm excited to see you at camp and see how your counselors were and how your trips were. And it's going to be a great summer.
Thanks, Becca. So the last question we just got is, will we get to pictures, and can we send emails to kids? So yes, as it's been at Camp Moss always, you can send emails to the kids. They just will not get their emails when they're away on trips. So when they get back from their trip, they're going to get lots of emails or lots of letters, which is always fun. And you know, they can write letters to you. And when they're not in camp, you know, maybe they'll write, maybe they'll bring, you know, letters to write, but it'll be mailed when they get back to camp. So it might be a little bit slower. We do send a newsletter, you know, to Camp Moss community every night, and we do post pictures, and we will get pictures from, you know, not the back countries necessarily, but we will get pictures from when they're, you know, at Hocking Hills that we'll post when they return. So you will get to see them. You might not see them as much as you are used to, but you will definitely still have pictures and newsletters. The border crossing form, if it did not work, we will resend it. We will make sure to resend that out. And about shelving in Pioneer, they're the same shelves that in the other villages that they have been in. So it's like every camper gets one shelving unit. So it's the camper should know what that is. But these are great questions. I hope that you guys are taking some stuff away from this. I hope there's lots of excitement. You know, like we said, Pioneer is really incredible. And something that's really special to you guys that you can always remember is that we're taking Pioneer back to Agri. We haven't been to Agri as Pioneer campers in many years. And you guys now get to have that experience, which is like, it's giving me chills. Like, that is really incredible. So I'm excited for you to have this experience. I'm excited to see you guys on the first day of camp when you get dropped off. And we're in it. Camp is going to be here before we know it. And we're, you know, busy getting ready and planning, and we will see you when you get there. But in the meantime, if you guys have questions or anything, please let us know, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for being on tonight. And it was so good to see the faces that I see, and also great to see everyone's names that are on. So talk to you guys soon. Have a great night.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Bye.